For our next set of presenters, for our fourth presenter, she finished her Master of Arts in Literature at the Cebu Normal University in 2011 and holds a TEFL certification from the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education from the University of Toronto and an IB teaching certificate obtained as part of her quest to continue learning. She returned to Cebu after teaching English for more than 6 years in Japan, where she was an EFL instructor at an academic high school in Toyama through the Japan Exchange Teaching Program, or JET. Her last position was that of an international baccalaureate language and literature instructor at an IB World School in Nagoya. Her research interests include local folklore and literature, especially the intersection of colonization and the nativist tradition. Let us give a round of applause for Miss Maricris Lauro-Henderson. Again, all the presenters, you are given 15 minutes only for your presentations. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. For my discussion today, I will be talking about formulaic language in a Cebuano dining's experience, peering into intertwined religiosities. The place of food in Filipino culture is central. And it is this, and this centrality is manifested in certain practices involving food. Say for example, when, for example, not letting the salt container run empty ensures abundance. When moving houses, pouring rice grains into the sink is believed to ensure abundance as well. It's not only in certain practices that food figures largely, but it is also in the choice of food that goes on the dinner table to mark certain occasions. For example, in birthday celebrations, ensuring that there is or that pancit is served provides relief to the celebrant and to the family members because it is believed to ensure long life. Now, seeing food this way, is how we show appreciation that goes beyond how we perceive food in our taste buds. More importantly, we attribute symbolic significance or meaning to our food. Linguistically, linguistically we can trace this one in the variety of terminology we refer to a feast. So, for example, in fiestas, we have our term for a feast is kumbira or hikay. During Christmas or Pasko, we have Noche Buena on the dinner table. And during the New Year's Eve, there is Buena Noche. Though I know that the last two are not Cebuano, like native Cebuano words, but we have embraced these celebrations as well, and the corresponding terminologies in our own culture. Now, within the household, our appreciation for a cooked meal is apparent in a few formulaic expressions. Formulaic expressions, by definition, refer to Cebuano-Visayan automatic set phrases and expressions that flow spontaneously and are composed of a single word or string of words, either commonly used or rarely heard. For the purposes of this sharing, for the purposes of this study, I will be talking about counter utterances. In Cebuano, we call the closest equivalent is that of panagam, counter utterance or panagam, aimed at the preservation and protection of the human body as well as the entire well-being of the speaker, and is hoped to extend to one's loved ones. Have you heard of a few formulaic expressions spoken around the dinner table? Because I grew up listening and using them. For example, Pwera siwang. Yes or no? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you did, or if you do, until now. Pwera garang. No? Pwera gaba. There. um, how about how about salamat sa Diyos after burping or after belching? Yeah, you do. Some. Wow, I don't anymore. So, please. This paper believes that the native Filipinos have a remarkable understanding and appreciation of the digestive experience in tracing ginhawa. The use of counter utterances shows a tempered appreciation of the gastronomic experience. While we appreciate the sensation of our or how our senses perceive taste and aroma, for example, saying the counter utterances actually temper the experience for fear that it might cause us or get us into harm, into some form of harm caused by the malignant spirits. I will get into that later. And lastly, the Cebuano-Visayan formulaic language intertwines the animistic and Christian traditions. For the methodology, I used qualitative research designed through critical discourse analysis. The data was derived from my other paper, Beyond Gapa and Buyag, Decoding Cebuano-Visayan Formulaic Language. I also interviewed Juanito Manggubat, who is 74 years old, who was originally from Bourbon, Cebu, and is currently living in Canlingo, Maguindanao City. Nonitoy is Itambalan. Nonito is a farmer, but he is also Itambalan, or a local folk healer. I also use secondary sources for support. Now, it is important to understand that the entire framework from which the paper, or the backdrop that I used in the drafting, or that I used as context in the writing of the paper, involves these concepts. That the native Filipinos operate within an animistic worldview, meaning to say that this worldview actually blurs the boundaries of the human, material, and spiritual realms. In other words, the native Filipinos recognize that what we have on this earth is actually a shared domain with Dili Inunato and Dili Ikita. So it is in that particular context that the counter utterances function the way they do as panaga. Now they were inculcated with values of fear and avoidance, and that in all his contacts with the spirit-impregnated universe, he seeks to avoid the invisible spirits who are actively malign. Now, for the findings, let us first trace this concept of the Filipino mind called ginhawa. I call this understanding of the gastronomic experience through ginhawa. And much of the discussion from this section hinges on Mercado's The Filipino Mind. And this section also explores animistic associations about the breath and synthesizes it with an understanding and appreciation of the digestive process. In this particular part of the paper, ginhawa does not just refer to the breath. Linguistically, it does not just refer to the breath. In addition to what Mercado claimed, Fox also said that a common linguistic behavior among Austronesian languages is that their linguistic usage, how we use our language, is shaped by non-linguistic features of the language. Meaning to say, the elements of culture that act on the speaker, or that act on our entire belief system, and in return we we invent some linguistic counterpart to approximate that. Now, physiologically, ginhawa is located in the digestive system. That's why we call this part as ginhawaan. In modern Cebuano, ginhawa means stomach or pit of the stomach, breath, lungs, vital spirit, intestines, or ginhawaan. By extension, ginhawa can also mean food, especially a cookie, appetite, disposition, good or bad, character, and condition. Now, the liver as the seat of ginhawa or seat of there are also certain cultural phenomena that allude to the importance, protection, and preservation of the seat of ginhawa, being the liver. So, for example, we have expressions in Cebuano-Visayan like makapakitbi sa makapakitbi sa atay, literally makes the liver curdle or makes the blood curdle. Lapad ang atay. If you receive praise or acknowledgement, then your liver expands, or that's the expression we use when we get flattered. And then makapadako sa atay, literally enlarges the liver or makes something go to one's head. And if a particular food or situation causes someone to be unwell or disrupts the flow of vital energy, it is felt by the liver. Thus we say in Cebuano-Visayan, nalain or naglain or natandog ang baba sa atay. Okay, so it's not just, when we talk about ginhawa here, we are talking about this concept of the breath as the manifestation of vital energy or vital spirit. And this one also ties with Chinese and Indian philosophies. That's why they have, or we all have culturally exclusive terms like Qi or Ki for Chinese, and then Prana for Indian, and then for Cebuano, Ginhawa. Next, so the Cebuano-Visayan Formulaic expressions under study, also known as Mangaon, are the following. These are the ones that are marked by the magic word Pwera. And according to Wolf, Pwera comes from the Spanish fuera, with local variations like Pwera or Korea, and is believed to ward off harm or misfortune. So fuera itself. For example, Pwera gaba, which in English could be away gaba or outside gaba. Pahawa. That's how we ward off. So this table shows the five formulaic expressions or counter utterances in focus. So Pwera siwang is used for when we smell something aromatic or ambrosial, and for fear of. So siwang means hair lip. So for fear of getting a hair lip, because lagi na ay dilingon na to nga nagpaminaw, we say Pwera siwang. And we do this if like a neighbor's aromatic cooking gets into the household. Or we say that. So literally it means to avoid a hair lip. Pwera gaba, on the other hand, is used when we drop morsels of food or steps in loose grains, or when throwing away leftover or stale food. Pwera garang, that's to avoid gas pains after a sumptuous meal. Garang simply means gas pains. And then Pwera himang, that is used to avoid a stomach ache caused by a malicious joke or trick. And then lastly, the one in blue is an expression that we use that we use after belching, which is, and that could mean to express thanksgiving for the graces received. Now, this is the only one that's a deviation, because this one must have been heard by the native Filipinos from the celebration of the Mass. And is, taken home. Idala nila sa balay, and then they use it to, they've used it to, as part of their daily life in order to express thanksgiving to the, to God, to the Christian God. Now, and then this one gets into syncretism, where the ancient native religion, because the concept of ginhawa was based from the animistic religion, including the concept that we are living in a shared space with dili ingonato and dili makita. But native religion was not only integrated into Catholic Christianity, but it animated it as well. Therefore, the counter utterances that are used during meal times, before or after eating, stand to counter extra-linguistic forces like the fear of gaba and malignant spirits. As counter utterances, they are widely believed to shield the speaker from harm. Last slide, please. In conclusion, a Filipino's enjoyment of food is a tempered sensual experience due to fear and avoidance. Meal times harmonize themselves with the totality of the animistic experience because of the religiosity, the two traditions merging together, and that Native Filipinos animated two religious traditions as shown in the merging of nativistic and Christian elements in the formulaic expressions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Maricris Lauro-Henderson.